Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 21st of June. It is Friday. We do have a 10-game main slate ahead of us this evening. I'm not sure what kind of weather situation we have going on, but we can dig into that later as the day goes on. Here, we're just going to take a look at a kind of a first look overview of the pitching options on this slate. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. On FanDuel, I would use about a half to a third of what I would use on DK as far as a pitcher pool. So let's dig in here. At the top, we get Chris Sale. Now, this is a spot where I've actually looked into before I started recording this. Chris Sale against an elite Yankees offense. Had that hiccup against Oakland. Bounced back, some dominant starts. It's been ridiculous this season. Now, obviously, the Yankees offense has been spectacular. Ton of power, etc. But I looked into some BBP history just to get an idea. DJ LeMahieu actually owns Chris Sale. I mean, legally. 7 for 10 with 3 home runs and I believe 2 doubles. 3 strikeouts. The 3 balls he didn't put into play were strikeouts. But actually, I'll pop over and we can just look at this really quick. Aaron Judge, 16 strikeouts in 28 at-bats, 31 plate appearances. Does have a home run, but still, this is Juan Soto right here. Is 1 for 5 with a home run against Sale, but 4 strikeouts out of his 4 outs. Giancarlo Stanton has 3 singles, 5 strikeouts in 9 at-bats. Gleyber Torres is 0 for 17 with 7 strikeouts. The one at the top is Jahmai Jones, who I wouldn't expect to be in the lineup, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, but these are just a few of the guys. And you just wonder if does Sale just get up to face the Yankees, or do they just truly struggle against what Sale's able to do? I have to be interested in the actual upside. Obviously, there's a ton of danger to that. He's done a pretty good job of keeping the ball in the yard, allowing just 6 home runs on the year. 2 of those came in that game against Oakland. Walks really haven't been an issue either, so he's just been extremely strong. I think we just have to use Sale. I think I actually prefer him over even Cease, which feels weird, but Cease just hasn't been amazing all year. He's had some really strong starts, don't get me wrong. He was strong against Milwaukee the first time he faced them, but these walks can be an issue, and the Brewers just are scrappy and scoring runs. Now, with that said, I think he's probably in a better spot just in general. I just don't know if he's going to have the same upside in the spot as Sale could, given how much the Yankees roster has struck out against Sale previously. Cease is a minus 155 favorite. Chris Sale is a slight underdog. Both games have a total of 7.5. Cease with a K prop of 6.5, juice on the over. Sale with a K prop of 6.5 with juice on the over. Actually, the same exact prop, same exact juice, everything. So based on those Vegas numbers, Cease is probably the smarter play slightly, given that he's a favorite. But there's just something about Chris Sale and the way that he's performed against the main Yankee bats that intrigues me. I don't know. I guess I expect both those guys to be kind of on the higher owned end. I did look at our projected ownership, and I think Cease comes in at number 2 and Sale comes in at number 3 on DraftKings as of right now. So, yeah, obviously going to play both of them. No issues there. Grayson Rodriguez, I think I'm going to play him. It's been really solid. 2 earned runs or less in 6 of his last 7 starts. some pretty strong starts. He just doesn't showcase the upside that those top couple guys have. He did strike out 10 against Boston, but in general does not showcase that same kind of upside. But the Houston lineup overall has been pretty weak. He just needs to find a way to avoid getting in trouble against Jordan. K prop of 5.5. Juice is slightly on the over. Houston traditionally hasn't struck out a ton overall. He is a minus 162 favorite, so no problem with Rod. And as we see as we go on, um, starting pitching kind of thins out quite a bit on this slate, so we're gonna have to be creative to get a pool that fits our liking. George Kirby probably gonna be the most popular pitcher on this slate taking on the Marlins. He's a minus 166 road favorite. Rocking a K prop of 6.5. Juice is on the under. Not a massive K guy, but doesn't allow as many base runners as Grayson Rodriguez does. So I do think he has more upside. Hasn't been as strong on the road. That's one big thing with Kirby that I remember every time. Home run issues on the road. Not that there should be a ton of home runs hitting this ballpark, but still, his numbers point out to just being a much weaker pitcher on the road. So definitely something to pay attention to. But like I said, Kirby should be the most owned player on the slate, pitcher on the slate, not player. Evalde, K prop of 5.5. He's a minus 155 favorite. Going to definitely be in play. Not somebody I'm in love with, coming off of a rough start in Seattle. But he's capable of being pretty solid. Too strong, of course. So he's been far more dominant when pitching at home, which is where he's at tonight, which is a great thing for us. Paddock, capable of getting blown up. I mean, we see it. And then he's capable of just dominating weaker teams as well. Taking on an Oakland squad that overall isn't that strong, but they randomly show up in spots where we don't expect them to. It's just with Paddock, he does seem to beat the teams he's supposed to beat, and then he struggles against the teams that he's supposed to struggle against. Obviously, he was just knocked around by this Oakland squad, so maybe a little bounce back. He's going to be in my pool because he's going to be pretty highly owned, I think. He's a minus 170 road favorite. He has been pretty weak on the road, so there's another worry. He's always going to allow base runners. It's just something that he is. So there's always a worry, especially on DraftKings, with it being an efficiency site. K prop of 5.5. Juice is on the under. I think we are projecting him to be the fifth highest owned starting pitcher on this slate, just ahead of Evalde. So, yeah, as you can see, like these top six guys are all going to be in my pool. Now we get to the first guy that I am fading is Carlos Rodon. Just kind of a decision based on some recent Atlanta trends, and that I think he is probably at risk of being the first one to be blown up out of this group. And maybe not blown up, but I mean, he just struggled against a Boston team that hadn't been overly great against left-handed pitching. It wasn't particularly sharp against the Angels. Obviously, the Angels have hit left-handed pitching well. So, I don't know. He just feels like the one guy that I feel safest fading. Maybe the day goes on and I add him back to the pool and fade Paddock. I'm not sure, but Rodon feels like that guy. And it feels decent to me because we do project him to be the fourth highest owned starting pitcher on DraftKings. So that kind of gives me a little bit of leverage to work with to be able to increase my exposure to some of the other guys. But we will see. As the day goes on, I do expect somebody in this range to make my fade pool to open up some percentages. But obviously, this being a first look or an early look, I haven't had a chance to dig into too many numbers. Cutter Crawford has not been super sharp, allowing runs, but his last two starts against very elite offenses has been pretty solid from a fantasy point standpoint. Strikeouts have been there. Home runs are an issue. Home runs in this ballpark are going to be an issue. So I do have some worries, but he has been spectacular on the road. And the Cincinnati squad has been pretty cold, aside from Ellie and maybe Candelario, who's been injured. Most of the lineup has been pretty ice cold. So I'm actually intrigued, but it's a super dangerous spot, and I will definitely be playing Cincinnati bats on the other side. Not really interested in Abbott or anybody. Landon Knack, uh, Sharp in his most recent minor league start only went 2 2/3, but I have a feeling it's because the Dodgers saw enough and wanted to pull him out. He struck out 7 of the 8 outs that he recorded, uh, taking on an Angel squad that's not overly strong against right-handed pitching. Knack's upside could be limited because I don't really expect him to go more than 5 innings. He has shown the ability to go 6 innings this year at the major league level, so maybe. But I would guess he's probably a 5 inning guy. So that does limit the upside a little bit, but it's enough for me to be interested in him. And right now we are projecting him at pretty low ownership unless our feed got messed up. Yeah, I'm still seeing pretty low ownership, so um, very interested there. Not really interested in anybody else down here until we get maybe DJ Hertz. I was all over him on this slate here where he struck out 13. I'm worried to jump on him here because if it'll look a lot like chasing this. I expect this to be a career performance for him, to be honest. Um, Still in the mid 80s in pitches, like he just really hasn't been increased, so it's going to be somewhat limited in that regard. It is in Colorado, so obviously that's an issue, but we do know that Colorado overall is a pretty weak offense. Um, so maybe there is some upside to him, but again, young pitcher, first start in Coors, there could be some worries there, and I understand it. I am going to play him just because I do think he offers enough upside. We obviously just saw what kind of upside he can throw up there, but I will temper some expectations given that, like I said, he's a young guy pitching in Coors for the first time. I skipped over Joey Estes. He initially intrigued me a little bit. I might end up back on him, but the Twins knocked him around in his last start, and he's facing them again. Um, People are infatuated with Yariel Rodriguez. I kind of want to begin the season because he is electric, um, but he's going to be limited from an inning standpoint. So I'm just not going to go there. Plus, we know Cleveland isn't a huge strikeout squad. Trevor Rogers, I think, is going to draw some ownership. He's somebody that I'm still debating here. Walks have been an issue. Ks haven't been a huge number, but he gets a K boost in this matchup against Seattle. So he's somebody that I want to consider. I just may not go there. Ultimately, it may come down to either Rogers or Hertz as the last man into my pitcher pool uh, when all is said and done. But there we have it. There's the first look at pitching for today. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.